So after I left secondary school and I completed a course at Watford College of Art in copywriting, I just had a diploma in copywriting. Didn't do an awful lot of work. We spent most of our time going to Cambridge, rowing and things like that. And I got quite a pathetic portfolio together. But even so, you were promised a job at the end of it. And I got one at Dordane Burnback, which was quite a good agency at the time. Doesn't exist anymore. And I worked on things like VW cars and what have you. But all the time I was writing my own material. And when you're working in advertising, you always work in a team. And I was working with this chap called Ian Dix, of all the unfortunate surnames, because mine was Willis. And of course people had great fun with our names on the door because it was Dix and Willis. Anyway, he was a lovely bloke, really fantastic graphic designer. And his wife just happened to have come out of art college and she needed a book to illustrate, hadn't got a text. So he said, oh, can you write something for Margaret? And I said, yeah, all right, I'm not doing much at lunchtime. And I knocked out this little poem, cautionary tale, gave it to Margaret, and then a few weeks before my 21st birthday got a phone call from Klaus Flug, who's a fantastic publisher who still has an independent company, Anderson Press. Phoned me up and said, we love the text, we want to buy it. And it was this one, Tale of Georgie Grubb. So that was my first ever book published. I think I rang everybody I knew into the late hours of the morning. I was so excited by this. And I framed my contract. I think they paid me 200 quid. But there we go. It was the 80s. Right, after my first picture book, I decided to have a go at poetry in a more professional capacity. And as I mentioned before, my granddad was quite an influence with his stories. And he always used to pick me up from school at Wheatfields, where Miss Stevens was. And there was a fantastic tree there, which every year would be covered in the brightest caterpillars. They looked like little rainbows to me. And I always used to take them home in a jar. Grandad would help me get them all. And to this day, I've never got over the magic of metamorphosis, watching them turn into moths and butterflies. And there's a poem in this book called Toffee Pockets. This is all about Grandad. After he died, I wanted some sort of memorial, so it's about him and my grandmother. And this is a quick poem about one of the caterpillars I picked up after school with Grandad, and it's called Zanzibar. I found a caterpillar. I called him Zanzibar. I gave him willow leaves to eat and put him in a jar. He wandered up and down his twig. He ate and ate and ate. I've never seen a caterpillar put on so much weight. But then he seemed to shrink a bit, and off he went and hid. He turned into a chrysalis beneath the jam jar lid. So I've never lost my fascination for metamorphosis, and to this day I still breed caterpillars. And here we've got some giant atlas moths waiting to pupate, and when they do emerge, they should have a 23 centimetre wingspan, which is all going to be very exciting. So I've constantly got to watch the temperature and the humidity in there, otherwise I'm going to cook them, and we don't want that. I spend a lot of my time going into schools. Whenever I go, I always think a story needs to be embellished with props, and so this is my trusty box, and I drag this all over London and to all corners of England. And in here I've got various props. For example, this, I've got it round the wrong way at the moment, but this is basically a tadpole, another of my favourite creatures. If you'd come earlier, you would have found a desk full of tadpoles. I wait till they've morphed and then I let them go. And the children like to come up and they open him, and all great excitement when he turns into a frog. There we go. The magic of metamorphosis. And I've also got this one. I've got to do my little Tommy Cooper thing here because that's around the wrong way as well. Got a bit of an obsession with amphibians and insects of all kinds. So here's my monarch butterfly caterpillar, and before your very eyes. This is very exciting if you're 4, believe me. Turns into a butterfly. Amazing. At that point, I'd say, well, obviously that doesn't happen that quickly, and I'll show them my my cocoons of various things. This is a dog baby. This is a model that I had made. I didn't know it would be so easy to get a model made, but this looks so well. It is professional. He's a professional model maker. And when I take him into schools, the children actually get very attached to him. We make him.